Hi everybody, this is Peter, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about a speaking lesson that I delivered in the past, and I'm going to be analyzing on how things could have been better. So first, I would like to start by providing a little bit of context from this lesson. So basically, this was a monolingual classroom in which everybody had Spanish as their first language, and there were approximately 35 students at a lower intermediate level. We're talking about high A1, low A2 students, most of them teenagers ranging ages from 16 to 18 years old, and they didn't have much exposure to the English language. In fact, some of them this lesson was one of their first contacts to this language. Now, this lesson was a 45-minute lesson which was focused on speaking on oral production, and it was based on the topic uh, the dream holidays. I expected them to talk about their dream holidays, to ask and to answer about that, to provide reasons, to provide uh, arguments on why they would like to go to those places. And I started the lesson setting the context with a leading in which I showed them some pictures about holidays. Then I kind of wanted to review some vocabulary from them. And then I picked up some useful expressions that were taken from the course book, and then those expressions were given to them, and then I divided the classroom into small groups for them to speak, and then of course they changed uh, the, their classmates. The groups were changed. Now I would like to conduct a psycholinguistic analysis on the things that worked well during this lesson and things that didn't work quite well. So first I would like to start analyzing the conceptualization, and something that I realized uh, at the first stage of the lesson, which was the leading, is that some students didn't have a clear idea on of what the context of the lesson was. They didn't know what a dream holiday was. Some of them thought that we were talking about places that we have visited before, but the whole idea was to talk about dream holidays that we haven't visited, but we would like to visit in the future. So they got a little bit confused in that. And also, although some of them caught the idea of a dream holiday, they didn't really have a clear idea on which place they could talk about. Uh, there were some other cases in which other students have a clear idea on the place, but they didn't have many reasons or arguments or activities to talk about within that specific place. And of course, that was one of the main problems that these students had. But there were some other students that they had a clear idea on the place that they wanted to talk about. They had some good reasons, but they didn't have the lexis nor the grammar or the useful expressions to talk about their dream holidays, which was quite difficult for them because they struggled organizing their ideas, and they were constantly relying on their first language, and they were constantly asking for translations basically. And now, of course, there were some other students that faced different challenges. In fact, some other students struggle uh, with pronunciation when they were split into groups. They were expected to speak. Some of them, they really find themselves in a hard time when they were supposed to speak. They were not able to connect the words as as natural as I would have wanted to. And now I would like to talk a little bit about the things that I would do differently this time to make sure that those problems go away. So first, regarding the leading, I would try to make a clear leading so everybody has a better understanding of the context, and also for them to activate their prior knowledge. So first, what I would do is I would show them some pictures of holidays, right? Something related to holidays, and then I would give them 2 or 3 questions for them to discuss So I'm providing the context, which is dream holidays. And then after doing this mini speaking leading activity, I would ask them some concept checking questions to make sure that everybody is in the same boat and that we understand the context. So I would ask them, okay, so are we talking about places that we visited before or that we want to visit? Oh, places that we want to visit. So in that way, I'm making sure that every single student uh, knows what we are talking about, which is dream holidays, right? And also speaking of this, since we're gonna be talking about dream holidays, I think this is a positive for students because it's something meaningful. It's something that can be personalized because students think, okay, so I will be able to share what I want, and therefore their attention, their attitude towards this learning is going to be much better. Now, to talk about the content preparation for them to have the ideas necessary to speak, I would prepare a content preparation activity in which students would have to write the places, 2 places that they would like to visit, and I will ask them to write some reasons or some activities that they can do in those places, only using keywords. I would give them probably a model on what I expect them to write, and this would benefit those weak students. This would be an scaffolding activity that would help weak students as well. Now, to solve the problem that didn't have much grammar or expressions, I would again choose 5 or 6 useful expressions from their course book about that are useful to talk about dream holidays, and I would design a guided discovery task so they can figure out the meaning of those expressions, and then I would clarify the meaning. I would ask concept checking questions. I would provide some other examples, and while I am clarifying, and also to solve the other problem, which was pronunciation, I would cover pronunciation. I would probably ask students to give me the sentence stress. I would elicit the sentence stress. I would work on some connected speech features, weak forms. I would drill pronunciation first, individually, to make sure that they got an accurate pronunciation, and then thoroughly to make sure that everybody is able to pronounce those expressions. And then when they are going to be sent to the smaller groups to actually speak, what I would do is I would emphasize the fact that they can use and they should use the worksheets that we use in the previous stages. So we have one worksheet with the ideas that they prepared, and we have another worksheet with the expressions that they have. So I would emphasize that they can refer to these 2 worksheets to succeed in their speaking activity. So this way, not only those strong students are being um, are having some benefits from this, but also those weak students that perhaps don't have the greatest memory or that have some problems retrieving the prior information. So those weak students will also benefit from these worksheets, basically. And I think by doing all these changes, the effective filter would be lower, and therefore students would be more willing to speak and to participate. Now, within the lesson itself, I would change the groups at least 2 or 3 times so they get more opportunities to speak with different people and perhaps changing a little bit their ideas. But it is a more organized way for them to practice and to use the language basically. And so those are the changes that I would do within this um, lesson. And I think by doing those changes, the lesson would be even a more fruitful lesson. So thank you so much for watching, and that would be everything for today.